absolutely can run away with this game. We basically saw them almost do it for the entirety of that first matchup. It's just going into game 2, if you're Insomnia, you kind of want to polish up on that, right? You still want to have your foot on the gas, but you want to do it a little bit more gracefully. You know, you don't want to trip on your toes. You want to try and do it as flawlessly as possible. But
it's hard on the world stage, though.
I know. But to be fair, though, a lot of the players on Insomnia, they have played a lot of LANs. So they do have a lot of LAN experience, and I don't think this is something that's really going to shake them.
No.
CACM, though, I'm not sure how much LAN experience they have, and I kind of wonder if that might be impacting their performance.
Well, actually, another history lesson with Hello here. So this isn't CACM's first rodeo either. They actually qualified. They've changed team names and everything over the years here, but they actually made top 16 last year and made it over to day 2. So, and they were also participated in the World Championships series in 2023 as well. So, you know, they do have experience being on the stage and everything, and being at LANs, obviously. It's a lot different experience than playing from home. But you know what? We have our second match here ready to go, Donnelly.
Second match, and I'm not seeing many changes here when it comes to bans. I think the only difference is that Suicune ban, right? We saw that Suicune in game number 1. And CACM are the ones to take it out of the pool. And I do like the CACM. They did steal away the Blaziken.
Yes.
I feel like the Blaziken was a pretty big factor for Insomnia. Counter picks though. Ho-Oh, Buzzball, Charizard, Blissey.
Yeah, Ho-Oh is... was Blaziken worth picking up over a Ho-Oh? We have seen how impactful that it can be, especially given it's one of those Pokemon that received that recent buff, but also just how powerful that Unite move can be to bring back your team. So we can see bulking it up, but
is that a Sylveon?
We do get a Sylveon. Yeah.
It has been such a long time since I've seen this Pokemon, especially after the nerfs. The nerfs did not help this Pokemon. But if there's a region that's going to play Sylveon, it's Japan. Japan, for some reason, really loves Sylveon, and there is a reason for this. It's not just some reason.
Do explain.
So firstly, I am curious to know what the role of power up their teammates. Is it supposed to be a standalone special attacker, or is it here to solely focus down the Espeon? Because there are multiple ways to kind of approach the Sylveon in these matchups, because we don't know if it's going to be Mystical Fire or if it's going to be Screamion, right? So
Screamion.
Is that not a thing? I'm pretty sure it's a thing.
I feel like we needed a Screamion with us when we faced the world's largest marble.
I actually dropped the largest marble on my foot. It hurts, so don't do that.
Do not recommend.
But just the pivot in play styles. I do like that we're seeing 2 evolutions for CACM, especially Leafeon and Espeon. These are very quick, come online evolutions that want to fight as soon as possible, and then you have a scaling Pokemon in that Blaziken. So I like that they kind of pivoted. They say, we want to match that energy from the Japanese teams, but now it's a case of, can they execute that? Can they execute that fast tempo and outpace Insomnia for this next game? We'll have to see in the laning stage.
Yeah, we'll have to see as we do head into our second game. CACM Esports is on that purple side once again. Insomnia on the orange. But you said early game is key here. Getting this Eevee online and into a Sylveon, and Chansey is there to help it evolve into that level 4. And you can see they've already headed up into that top half. Let's pivot down here. Ho-Oh against 2 members.
Yeah, I mean, Ho-Oh's pretty difficult, and it's going to be the Screamion build here for Luna. Okay, so we are going for that consistent damage, not for the special attack reduction that would have been on the Mystical Fire build here. So Luna, his role really is just to be super annoying, consistent damage, and it's wide range damage as well. So you really don't want to be within range of Luna unless you're prepared to go for the delete button. You don't want to go on a prolonged fight up against that Sylveon.
Yeah, I think even despite Lapras having that high HP and high special defense, it can get shredded on down by that Sylveon, we saw just demonstrated. But we do have the Charmeleon has evolved as well, as they're just going to look for more wild Pokemon. Ho-Oh playing aggressively and looking for some more dunks.
And I do believe there was a knockout in that top lane as well. So even though CACM, they're trying to keep up and really outpace Insomnia, you can see how refined Insomnia's playstyle is when it comes to this quick playstyle. Luna, though, might have gone a little bit too deep and gets punished by the Espeon. And, oh, wow. Is that what I think it is for the Espeon build?
Wait, what did you see?
Well, hang on, we're going to have to hold our thoughts here for a second here because we are maybe seeing a Ho-Oh go down, but no, it is going to be the Lapras instead. It's not stored power.
No, it is Psyshock. Yes, so
that is very rare for Espeon nowadays.
Oh, I guess given the good secure that it has for that, the range that they are lacking over on their side, but even then it is support Espeon because it has that experience share built on there. So we'll have to see how that fares up as we see Insomnia pressuring this bottom tier 1 pad. Don't have enough AOS energy, but even with that, CACM, they've decided to just back on up and let him dunk freely.
Are they trying to play catch-up here? I mean, taking a look at the experience difference between the two teams, it is very significant, especially with Buzzwole and Charizard leading the charge in this particular matchup, and they just can't even get rid of the Buzzwole. He just flies on out of there like nothing's happened. CACM, you know, they really wanted to try and have this this step up over Insomnia, but this is just not working in this game. And now I'm just fearing that they've kind of fallen into the same trap as that game number 1, where they picked such a specialized lineup that kind of wanted to fight. Now that they can't fight, what is their plan B? And the Buzzwole is going to start things up here for the team. Leaf even coming in for the Unite as well. 2 Pokemon down on the side of CACM, but we did see Insomnia lose one themselves. There goes a third, and CACM being run down yet again by Insomnia, who are just too tanky.
Well, that's the thing. It is a game of Pokemon Unite. You've got thing is, if you're losing fight after fight after fight, I mean, what can you do? Get some experience from those wild Pokemon that you can see CACM are doing as they prepare for this Regieleki marching towards Tier 2.
Oh man, CACM basically stuck in that top lane. They either have to decide to defend the Regieleki or just let it walk in and try and maybe get a payoff somewhere else, but the payoff ends up being 2 of their own Pokemon, and again, Insomnia flooding that top lane, basically deleting the entire roster of CACM. With the Regieleki going in, they dunk all of their points. That top goal zone is broken. CACM, they're losing a lot of freedom of movement on the map, especially after losing that tier 2 in the top lane.
I feel like the walls are really closing in on them as Insomnia taking on over. Leafeon tries to secure a KO on Obeyarn there, but even with the Unite move is unsuccessful. It's just them scattering around looking for a pick, but can they actually get a pick as they're going for another dive? Blissey does end up going down. This is their chance. 2 members have been knocked out from Insomnia.
Big knockouts as well. You got a support as well as one of their core Pokemon. So very nice pivot in experience here for CACM. They're not out of the woods as of yet though, but the fact that they can now score some points and take some map control away, this is already great news for the team. It's just the supporting cast here for Insomnia to try and defend that top lane, but they will do a 39-point over dunk. So the catch-up is possible here for CACM. It's just a matter of how much more is Insomnia going to give away? Because they could have defended the top lane, but you can see that they decided to go for a trade-off. They say, you can have our tier 1, we're going to take your central area.
I guess when it comes down to getting out of the woods, well, you can't go over it. You can't go under it. You have to go through it. So whether CACM are able to get through this bog, we'll have to wait and see. But once again, just Ho-Oh being such an aggressive player there, keeping them at bay as we do have that other Regieleki spawning on through, and it's already getting melted on down.
Oh no, the Blaziken! He tried to go for the jump in to steal away the Regieleki, but was caught out by that Buzzwole. It's a 1-for-1 though. Buzzwole does get picked off in the meantime, but look at how low their players are on CACM. We have Luna finishing them off with that Screamion, just yelling in their ears, telling them, go home. This is our match.
Well, Well, the thing is, we'll see if these screams are going to be enough. Overheat charges on through a great eject button to chip away some damage from Insomnia, but that isn't going to stop them from continuing this pressure, trying to escort this Reggie Alecki, but CACM dealt with that really well, making sure that isn't a threat and going to continue pushing back Insomnia away, screaming themselves.
Oh, Buzzball, that's a pretty big pick. I'm surprised they kind of gave that one away because that's experience in the pockets of CACM. And we still have a minute and a half left before Rayquaza is going to appear on the field. So it looks like we will have a moment to kind of breathe here for both teams to take objectives, try to score some points. It's just the Ho-Oh to defend, but that home base score coming in from Insomnia. I mean, there was no one at home to defend the base. So
there's no room for breathing here, Dadalee, okay? I know you're still trying to catch your breath from making it over here, but yeah, those two dunks into that home base just to balloon that lead even more. 206 to 422. Lapras Express has been popped to go and cut out Charizard, which is actually a huge pick considering it was at level 14.
They did have to use the Lapras Express for that though, so that's not going to be available for a good while, especially when the Rayquaza is up. And I think if you're Insomnia, you kind of think like, okay, we don't need to worry about the Lapras Express anymore. I kind of feel like,
but look what's happening. Insomnia, they're not even worrying about this Reggie Alecki. CACM know that it's too much of a threat, that it could go towards their home base. Insomnia, they're going to prioritize scoring these dunks because even if they end up losing the Rayquaza, like we saw last time, if they have enough of a lead, they should be able to make a comeback. But I don't think they want to make the same mistakes twice because they've already gained the positioning in tall grass.
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, the debuff is still there in the top lane, but for CACM, no one's going to commit to that, which I think is the smart idea. That one, it would have been a bit of a trap if someone tried to go for the double points there. So both teams poised, ready to go for the Rayquaza. Obviously, CACM really needing this Rayquaza a lot more than Insomnia. How did they approach this? Blaziken's not even with the team, which I'm a little bit afraid of because if Insomnia decide to jump now, I feel like things can go sideways.
Oh, sideways or over it because Ho-Oh being able to just go over those walls with that Sacred Fire, they definitely are looking for that positioning, but they are CACM. They've made their way into the Ray Pit. This is their time to shred it on up. Blaziken is trying with all of their might as Buzzball is dealing with this Clefable. Doesn't even end up getting stopped by that gravity. We have Sylveon also using their Unite move, dodging those moves, and only two members of CACM are up. We have that overheat. That was just a tad too early, and a complete team wipe on the side of CACM. As we said, Insomnia, they don't want to make the same mistakes twice, and they did it as they were able to secure that Rayquaza this time around.
It was a really tough match for CACM because just having a look at what they had with their lineup, they really needed that Lapras Express if they wanted to have that perfect point of entry into the game to catch someone out, maybe to initiate. Just the fact that it was still on cooldown, the fact that they tried to rip the Rayquaza, you know, I can understand why they tried to do it. It's just unfortunate that they just didn't have the firepower to sort of come in and surprise Insomnia, right? With the just yoinking the Ray and kind of trying to win the match that way. Because we saw the Blaziken. He sat there. He was charging the overheat. He really wanted the last hit, but even if he got it, I think he was the last player alive. So
yeah, it wouldn't have ended up getting the shields, and the shields would have ended up getting broken. But, you know, you're speaking about firepower here. You do have the double fire flying Pokemon on the side of Insomnia. And, well, there we go. Match win for Insomnia, being able to defeat CACM there.
And I do believe this also locks in Insomnia for day number 2 as well. So for Insomnia fans, going to be very happy about that. We will be seeing them again. ACL champions, not knocked out yet. And I do believe they still have a lot to show for in tomorrow's matches. So very interested to see who ends up being their opponent, because remember, folks, the teams have not locked in their opponents for day 2 yet. I do believe we're going to be doing some kind of drawing system, and we will be finding out who's going to be playing who after all of the matches have concluded today, because we are also determining seeding. The top teams in their groups will have a slight advantage in the seedings compared to the second seeds of these groups.
Yeah, well, obviously there is still a lot more groups to cover and see that how that all pans on out. Also, I see a little Psyduck there, a little flush. We haven't actually seen much Psyduck today, have we? I have all the Psyducks on my shoulder.
Well,
I'm hogging them all.
speaking of Psyduck, this was a Pokemon that really fell from grace because of all the updates and patches, and I think the developers kind of realized the duck was a little bit too strong, you know? It's not fair to have a first stage Pokemon
You know who else
be
is
so
strong?
strong.
Ho-Oh.
Well,
Ho-Oh's
I mean,
taking
it's,
that
it's a mythical Pokemon, so I can understand her being strong, but a Psyduck?
Don't
Yeah,
underestimate the little guy. But yes, we are heading in for some replays. As you mentioned earlier, Insomnia really had all bases covered here. Being able to win team fight after CACM, and even if we did have a slime getting knocked on out close to the replays, they were still able to come back in time and completely wipe out their team.
Yeah. I mean, I just think Insomnia played their lanes perfect because they also perfectly identified what CACM wanted to do in their lanes, which was try to run away with the game with Evolutions and hopefully the support with Lapras as well, and have that late game secure with the Blaziken. But just, we saw in those lanes, Insomnia just ran them down from start to finish.
Sylveon!
And Sylveon.
MVP! Oh, Luna on the Sylveon getting 91k damage. Okay, I mean, Sylveon is a evolution that we don't really see very often, so